Hi, this is Melissa with A Creative Journey with Melissa. Today I'm going to show you a technique, and I'm also going to show you, actually I'm going to show you two techniques. I have chameleon markers. They are awesome. They are alcohol based, similar to what you've probably heard of Copic or Spectrum Noir and everything, but these are a little bit different. They are really versatile and you don't need as many markers for the colors, and they're really cool. So I'll show you that in a little bit, but right now I want to show you this. This is the card we have today. I'm actually focusing more today on technique than I am on the card. So I've done a few things to prep ahead of time so that you can have this example. So we're going to get started. Put this card on the side. So what you're going to need is you're going to need your card base and a piece of paper to stamp on. You're going to need scissors. You're going to need your 3D adhesive, foam squares. You'll need your adhesive. You'll need your stamp set. And you'll need your rhinestones. There doesn't have to be a specific kind, doesn't have to be a specific brand. Any kind will work as long as they're clear. That will give you the best result. And you're also going to need your ink and your block. And I think we're ready to get started. So, how about if I put all this away? We'll just keep out what we need for now. So, I am going to stamp a few of these just to give you a little idea, if you're new to stamping, how to do it. And then we're going to move on to the actual technique. So, what we're going to do is get the piece of paper that we want to stamp on. And this piece of paper is used so that you can stamp on this, this, and the sentiment. And the reason why is you're not actually doing it directly to the card, you're actually cutting them out and placing them on top of the card. Okay? So what we're going to do is, you can do this a few ways. You can do them individually, or you can put a few of them on the block at the same time. I'm just going to do them individually. So these are photopolymer stamps, and by design they're sticky. So as you can see, they're sticking to my finger and you can't flick them off even if you try. So we're going to stick that right on there. Oh, I had a little ink on my hands and I've got some on the inside of that. So you stick that onto your block. You're going to ink it up. Press firmly and evenly, and you're stamped. And this is what the stamped image looks like. Here's a close-up shot for you. Okay? Then you're going to wipe this off. I'm not going to take the time to wipe it off right now. I will wipe off my stamps later. Just going to put it back. And then you're going to take one of the sentiments. It's a pretty versatile set. It's got a number of sentiments. So I think I'm going to pick, oh, let's do awesome, because I think today's a pretty awesome day. So we put awesome on here, line it up, you're going to ink it, and then you're going to put awesome right here. And you have it stamped. Okay? So that's how you would stamp all of the speech bubbles and the sentiments. It's important that you use Memento ink, and the reason why is because if you use another kind of ink, the alcohol in the alcohol markers we're going to be using will actually work with the black ink, and then it'll be big smeared kind of mess of color and black, and it'll be all a mess and it won't look clean. This ink, which is Memento, will keep it clean, looking crisp, and you can also color on top of it with no issue whatsoever. Okay? So we're going to put this away. And this is what I have here. This here is something that I stamped ahead of time. Okay? Now, I'm going to bring out the chameleon markers. There's a number of different varieties you can get. You can get any of these sets, which are sets of 5. They come in cool tones, pastel, primary, and earth tones. I personally have the full set, which I preferred because I use a lot of different colors in my designs and didn't know which one to necessarily pick. So I have the full set, which is a full set of 20, plus you get a specific colorless blender and you get a specific type of black pen that will allow you to do some lining drawing with. Okay, so we have these each here, or you can get the complete set, which is this one. And this comes with a nice little case and all that fun stuff. Okay, so these are the Chameleon markers. Now they call them color tones. I call them alcohol markers. To me, it's kind of the same thing, I guess, preference. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this marker out. This is a red one, okay? And there's a few different things about this marker. You have a brush tip. I'll show you that. Okay, it's smaller than you may be used to. The tips are from Japan, and from Japan they actually come smaller. I guess it's probably more for fine art as well as regular art and anything else you'd use it with. I actually like them quite a bit. And then you have this end, which would be like a, like a marker tip, felt tip. It's not a felt tip, but that would be what I would compare it to. Okay. Then you have here, which is your mixing chamber. Well, I call it a mixing chamber. It's actually your fluid for your colorless blender. And what you do is, if you're familiar with alcohol markers at all, this is going to take place of your blending fluid. It's the same thing, only you do it in a different way, you use it in a different way. So let me get started and show you. You can use either tip. I prefer this one for what I'm going to show you because it makes it a little bit more obvious. And you take the cap off, and inside here, I'm not sure if you can see, but there's a little marker tip in there too. Well, that actually has the colorless blender. So what you do is you put it in here, and you hold it straight up like this. You'll hold it like this, okay? So straight up and down. And the darker or the more color or deep color that you have, the longer you're going to want to hold it upside down, because that actually, just imagine it adding white to your color. So what this does is this allows you to be able to shade without having to actually shade. And let me show you how. Okay, so here we have, this is the red pen. I just add a little bit of the colorless blender, and so we're going to start coloring here. See how it's pink? And as we keep coloring, the colorless blender solution starts to go away, and you're left with more color. And that is how that works. Can you see that? So you end up getting your own shading without even really having to shade. It does it for you. Okay? I'm going to show you one more time, and then we'll get started to the fun stuff. It's also important that you make sure that when you put your caps on, make sure you hear a snap, because you want to make sure that they're nice and tight. Okay? Okay, I'm going to show you orange. So I'm going to take this off here, and this is normally what they look like, but after a while you will see that this tip in here, which is where the colorless blender solution is, where your mixing chamber is, this here will turn colors just like the red one was. You can see that. See the red? Okay. So because of that, that's okay. It doesn't do anything. It's no problem. It doesn't affect what you're going to do. It doesn't change anything. Okay, so we're going to take this and we're going to close it on. Now this does not make the click. This just touches tip to tip. Okay, so we're going to hold that. I usually, it depends on how long I want to do it for. I would do usually 5 seconds if I want it a little bit light. 7 seconds if I want it really, really light, and 12 seconds if I want it super light. Now with the darker colors, like I said, I leave it on a little bit longer. Okay, and we're going to show you again. So we start here in the corner. It's very light, super duper light. And then as we color, and the colorless blender fluid gets drawn out onto your paper, you'll see how the real color comes through, and you have an automatic shading. And that is what we have. It's just that simple. Of course, I didn't keep in the lines very well, but you get the point. So we're going to close that up for now. Just for a second. I'm going to put this aside because we don't need this anymore. What I really wanted to show you, which is the reason why I'm doing this video actually, is how to save money and color your own rhinestones. I know it sounds strange, but did you ever have a project that you really wanted to have a color match and you couldn't do it? Well, with these markers and with clear rhinestones, it's amazing what you can accomplish. So I'm going to show you. Now here, you may not realize, but this here, every one of those rhinestones were colored with the Chameleon markers. Okay? And see how well the colors match? I think it looks great. Okay, so the one thing I did find is the color that I used for this blue on the Chameleon pens was BL3. But when I colored the rhinestones, they were really, really light. So I changed, for the rhinestones, I did change it to the BL6, which gave us a little bit more color. But you can see how well they really match in color. So it worked out really well. Okay? So what we're going to do is you can pick any one of your rhinestones. It doesn't matter, whichever you prefer. There's a whole bunch of different kinds. There's even designs. There's all different kinds of really great things you can do with these. I'm just going to show you a little tidbit of what you can do, and then you can go from there. I mean, the possibilities are endless. Okay, so I'm going to do a red, a blue, an orange, a green, and a yellow. Now again, you know what? I'm going to do a purple too. I'm going to do the purple because I like purple. So with these, and again, this really depends on what you want, what color you're looking for. This would depend on whether or not you would want to put any of the blending solution on the markers before you use them. If you want a little bit lighter color than what the standard full color saturation is on the marker, then I would suggest you use some of the blending solution first. Okay, so I'm just going to go straight on. This is the VO4, and you just literally color it. So now, you have your own purple rhinestone. Okay, I'm going to do a few more and then I'll show you all of those. I like using the brush tip for this because it seems like it has better coverage. The other tip is perfectly fine. It just seems like it goes around the rhinestone better, maybe because of the shape, I'm not sure. And even with the yellow came out really nice. I really enjoyed this. Now this is YL2, and the red one I used was RD4. Okay. I'm kind of a bright colors kind of girl, so I like to use bright colors in my projects typically. You'll see that often. Now I do want to show you what the other blue looked like, just so you can see why I changed it and added a little bit darker color. This is the BL3, and the one right here is BL6, okay? So this is BL6. I'm going to color it with BL3, and you'll see why it's so light. You can barely even tell. There's just a little bit of color. It almost looks like a ice water blue, or maybe a really, really light topaz. It's beautiful, but wasn't really good for showing you guys the coloring. Here, let me show you. Like I said, you can see it was colored a little bit, but it's very hard to see that it's colored. So I thought this would be better for you. Okay. And then we have green. This is YG3. And then we have orange. And again, this is all personal preference. You don't have to use the brush end, you can use the other end. And I'm going to show you how that works in just a second, so you can see that either one would really work. I just prefer the feeling of this. Let's see. Let's do the purple one with the other end. Okay. This one's new, can you tell? Ah! It doesn't want to come off. Well, I'm going to use another one for time's sake. I put lotion on my hands, and I think they're just a little slippery. Let's see if we can do the blue one without having them slide all over the place. No, we can't. I'm going to use my shirt. My handy dandy shirt. All right. Ta-da! Okay. So we've got the blue one. And this is what I would call like a felt tip nib. And you can do the same thing. I don't think one's any necessarily, like I said, better than the other. I just think that it's personal feel. So what I'm going to show you, so you can get a clearer picture of what they look like when they're done. I'm going to put these aside. You don't need these anymore. Okay. So I'm going to take that card, the one that I colored earlier, and just show you what it looks like. Now this is one of my favorite go-to tools. It is called a Quick Stick, and it's by Quick Cuts. They have other ones on the market. This is the one that I have. I haven't found one specific one that's any better than the other. They're all basically the same concept, but they're so much fun and so easy to use. So you basically have this end here, and this just pulls up your rhinestones. I'll show you in a second. And then this, you can use it to pick it up. Like that. It's got like a little clay stuff or like a little gummy type material that allows you to pick stuff up. So when you have really tiny things and you're trying to pick them up, this is a great tool for you. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just go underneath it and pick it up like this and place it. Pick it up like this and place it. Pick it up like this, place it. And you can see how this works. You'll see the blue better in a minute, the lighter blue, and how it came out and the difference between the two. There, okay. Now this is probably a better example of what the blue looks like. Still kind of looks like a little bit of water. Okay, so see how beautiful those come out? I really enjoyed it. At any rate, well, I wanted to show you this. I think it's really a neat thing to do, and it saves you money. You can buy just the clear ones or silver, whichever one you want to call it. Whether it's rhinestones or anything that's like a glass or plastic that you could color, and a slick surface, and alcohol markers will color that. Even if you wanted to use, transparencies or something like that, it works on that as well. if you want to see what else you can do with transparencies or like packaging, I have a video. I'm trying to remember which one it was. I think it's 2, but I'm not sure, maybe 1. I don't remember. Shows you how to use that. But if you're using that, you can also color the item and then do it. So I think this is it for us. I really appreciate you have been taking the time to come and visit, and I hope you have a great day. And I hope you come back for next Monday for another edition of Mondays with Melissa. Have a great day. Thank you so much.